Sure.
Hi everyone, welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Mr. Pawan Gupta, who is the co-founder of Betterhalf.ai, which is a matrimony app as the name suggests. And Pawan is a graduate of MIT and was also part of Y Combinator last year. Hi Pawan, welcome to ELI.
Thank you for bringing me, to your show.
I would request you to first introduce yourself to our audience.
Sure. I happen to be the co-founder and CEO of Betterhalf. I'm a repeat founder.
Okay.
The first one was a bootstrapped, profitable company. This one is more exciting. So happy to be committed, to our customers and employees.
Okay. Before we start talking about your venture, which of course is interesting, would love to know about your early life prior to building a startup. How did you land on the entrepreneurial journey? What motivated or triggered that thing?
I think it has to do with how your formative years of your life, and especially I think the school days and in the college days, how you're shaped up. I think it started with my undergrad school. I didn't really like studies at that point in time,
Okay.
and I think I saw that people were like interested in other things in their life, especially non-academic things. There are other interests which was not really captured well. That's how my first startup happened. In that time, it was an educational, I think, company. It was coined. These days we call it EdTech company. But we were providing software to schools, and we're just doing the non-academic, the assessment of students. That's how it happened. I was a naughty boy who wouldn't follow much of what parents would state. So I think I had my all stories, at that point in time. And after doing this rigorously for 2.5, 3 years, I wanted to learn more on building companies, and that's how MIT happened. And that's how I stayed in the US for a year. Post that, and then Betterhalf Genesis happened again because of a personal problem, and I started looking, for my partner search. Okay. And my co-founder, his engagement broke, so we just wanted to solve that problem for ourselves and our friends. That's how Betterhalf Genesis happened.
Got you. And you mentioned that it was associated with the problem that you faced during your journey. Can you elaborate a little bit? What problems did you exactly face, and what platforms did you use back then to solve your problem?
I was using matrimonial sites of India, right? So didn't have great customer service over there. I think look, I think these platforms where there were many relatives and parents who were involved, and I remember that I was waiting for somebody to talk to for 4 months.
Okay.
From Georgia Tech, and this person never showed up, right? And I was like 4 months of waiting. A bride in my dream, and then I never even spoke to that person. So I kind of realized that I think the platforms were not meant, for people like me. And then when we started looking into overall industry, it was very business marketing driven, and we wanted to be more tech and data driven. So I think that's how we are like, okay, we need to come in by ourselves. So that's how Betterhalf started. In fact, my H1B didn't go through during that time after 1 year of working in California, and that was a trigger point. And there was 2 months, right? We have 60 days to leave the US. So I flew back to MIT. That was my really best relaxing time when I was thinking about Betterhalf. And those were like really, really best time. Most peaceful time when you think on ideation, like in 5 years, like later, I would still count that as to be the best experience. Just thinking how the world would change slightly, how it would come in. But now that's a reality. Betterhalf today is known as India's only matrimony app, without parents, used by over 7 lakh Indians on a monthly basis. We've done over 10,000 marriages. So I think the brand that we enjoy today, and just hear out with these, I think our users, like that's a testimony of how we think.
So curious to know how the BetterHalf.ai, the AI part came. What was the thought process behind it? Do you really think that uh, data and analytics can have a role in matchmaking, and especially in Indian context when the traditional matrimony apps, even today, they rely on factors like caste, religion, and gotra and all. How is it playing out for you?
Yes. So, look, when we started thinking on AI, right, it wasn't about we have to. Actually, it was about, look, in the Western world, right, all these big industries, are being, spoken on the AI side. Disruptions are happening. So it was more of a trend, right? We thought,
Mm,
let's see, maybe at some point we'll catch up, right? We didn't really think on customers then, but
mm,
now after inventing number of things on data, we do think after looking at this for last 2 to 3 years, I think there's a significant contribution that has happened. We are the inventors of single click matching, in the world. So just based on your name,
what's that?
your gender, and
The single kip.
we yes. So first of all, it's been 2 years of building it. Finally, we did get a US patent as well. It's a novel invention, but we offer the world's fastest matching experience in one click. And let me uh, chat what it means.
Yeah.
So let's see, your name, uh, and your gender and date of birth is only what we take. And based on that, we have a view, and we are quite accurate on that. What's your religion? What's your community? What's your mother tongue? Then
Mm,
based on your city and location, we know what's the median age, right? Of a gender. Let's say in this case, a male, your IP address. And then we have done over 5 million connections, like 50 lakh matches on BetterHalf. So we do know that for a people like you, what could be their stated partner preference. So
okay.
all of these predictions happens in almost real time, like 5 to 10 seconds, and you'll see
Mm,
what happened. And BetterHelp just showed you profiles. So I think it's magical in the sense that we are the first company that never asks you initially what you're looking, and we just show you these profiles. And
mm,
that's 80% accurate, because when we have tested it over, if not a million users or more, if the fields that we predict, 80% users don't change it. So
mm,
that's what is a very strong tech that we have. And then because of that, our onboarding rate, people come very, very fast on a product like BetterHelp. And
okay.
once they come in, you have more network effects, they get matched faster. And
Mm,
after that, in terms of data, right, especially on matching,
mm,
you mentioned about, right, when people care about, right, the caste or community, mother tongue, annual income, education degree, absolutely correct. We see that. But that's what we see as 70% of the need, of the consumers. The
okay.
30% of need is still towards the behavioral side in urban India. They're looking to, like, match somebody which is, let's see, who is a pizza lover, right? Or somebody who likes some kind of pet, or somebody who's more introvert,
Mm,
somebody who likes to go out, somebody who is looking to settle abroad, somebody who wants to like live a nuclear family. All of these mix and match is what the matching algo does it. So
okay.
it's a strong recommended platforms, where a platform and in recommendation product that we have created, where every day you will see there is a 30 to 50 profiles that we give you.
Mm,
And it just keeps on happening. In the initial days, it's also people get like 50, 100 profiles in a day, but
mm,
then the matching happens. So we hold the highest connection rate per user. If you go to dating apps, you might get 1 or 2 connections in a month. If you go to matrimonial sites, it might be 3 to 5 connections, but you'll speak to parents. If you go to
mm,
BetterHalf, you will get connected to 8 or 10 people, and you'll
mm,
speak to directly bridal groups. So that's the unique product meant for these high income, high age urban Indians in top 30, 40 cities of India, who is looking for that speed, but for the purpose of marriage. And our matching algo and the curation plays a quite important role on that. So I
mm.
think over time, we have become a quite stronger company on the data and tech, which is exactly what users see as a result of connections and conversations.
Okay. Can you throw some light on the broader context of Indian marriage industry as an industry, how it is evolving with time, with the intervention of things like data analytics and platforms like the Matrimony and Shadi.coms. how it has changed during last 20 years compared. So India has been a country where traditionally parents organize the matchmaking, and lot of arranged marriage used to happen even in our parents generation, and to some extent in our generation also the arranged marriage is still happening, but it is changing at a very fast pace. Probably 10 years from now it will be a different story altogether. So can you maybe share some statistics or throw any context on how the marriage industry is becoming an industry and how is it changing
Okay. So with marriage industry, do you mean the matchmaking part? Do you mean once
overall?
people match the courtship? Yeah. So okay, then better have we call it overall, right? So matchmaking, courtship, and wedding. So first of all, I think as an industry, we have this two large problems. One is matchmaking for matrimony. So where people spend 5,000, 10,000 rupees, that's what we see. And then once people already have met, courtship is largely solved. People already know where to go to movie, or where to go to these events or trips or tours or dining. Right, that's where people spend a lot of time together just building courtship, which is we think it's a more organized solved problem. But the last one is the wedding, which is not solved. So we count that matchmaking and wedding to be two large problems that is not solved well. Now, within matchmaking, we think industry is, if I were to rate, it's possibly 6 out of 10 organized. If I have to rate wedding, it's possibly 1 out of 10 organized. Now, within the matrimonial matchmaking, I think the earlier platforms were meant for parents, then Betterhalf came without parents, and then Urban Indians, it became a brand. So once, let's see, when you get to wedding or the marriage stage or something, you'll see Betterhalf has to be the best product. That's our ambition that we have for you. I think then, I think as an industry, let's look into matchmaking first. In the matchmaking part, I think the entire India, right? So 25% of people annually, right? So let's see, 11 million weddings happen. Into 22 million brides and grooms get married. Into 66 million. These are the people annually, right, who are looking to get married at any time. For any marriage related products and wedding, this becomes 80, 90 million or something, right? But that's online, offline. That's where the total user base. Now, for these people, 25% would go to matrimonial sites, to get married. So that's something where we operate in, but within that, we have a better product. But 40% of these marriages happen because of family introductions. Family is just quite key integral part of this, and 35% happens through organic, the meetups, right? The school, college, workforce. So we think organic will always stay. So we do not touch that. But first of all, how we think is the 25% market of matrimonial matchmaking will be replaced by faster products, of let's see, Betterhalf and urban products, as urban Indians become the main decision maker. 10 years ago, it was the parents, but over the last 5, 8 years, it's been like people like you and me deciding the partner for ourselves for marriage. That's where we see how industry is shifting. But the bigger change that will happen is because of these faster technologies. One is people are now so keen, right? They're 500, 600 million mobile users, but you just go there, download an app, and you start getting matched. Because of that speed, now parents have less role to play on the introductions. That role is now evolving by the urban Indians. So this 40% market where parents used to introduce and make marriages, I think it will squeeze to 20% over the next 5, 6 years, or 5 to 8 years. And then urban Indians will see this matrimony part, is going to be replaced by urban matrimony and the parents. So the market is expanding on the matchmaking part. Let's talk on wedding. I think we are seeing a behavior of urban Indians that they are doing these weddings in cities of their choice, unlike going to hometowns. And in these cities, they generally don't have their parents or relatives and the extended network. They don't have time. And now this is a trend that they've started talking to wedding planners. They just don't want to take hassle of working with the vendors and managing this. They just want they're earning well, but they just want great experience to happen for them. So I think we'll see the decorations experience, the photography experience, the event planning experience, the entertainment to audience is going to be uplifted. I think that's when we see India, like as a country, right? That's the entire industry will emerge. As you'll see a lot of new products, coming out in this industry.
Okay. Uh, One other thing that is coming to my mind is when technology has made it so quick and simple for anyone to find a match, and everything happens in a single click. Traditionally, marriages are things that are strategically arranged and are supposed to last for a lifetime. But when things happen quickly, they also disintegrate quickly, right? So that is why the the divorce rates in India also is rising, contrary to if you compare it to US. In US, the divorce rate is actually decreasing with time, but in India, more people are getting divorced. So do you think this is a consequence also, or should I say one unfortunate outcome to simplifying things like marriage? What did you say on that?
I would agree to this. I think there's a lot of tolerance that's needed in a relationship. So let's see, US, I think it's 44% divorce rate, right? But if you look into India, it's probably 1%, but that's growing. So we're starting with a low base number. I think families are must and should be part of this process. I think our view is, since we attempt to look into urban Indians who have influence on finding the partner, we always recommend to keep parents into the process. So think on kind of like you're driving a car, but you are the driver and your parents are the passengers, unlike what used to happen before. So it's very, very important to have those passengers in your journey.
Hmm.
And these passengers have view, but they're becoming more open-minded. They're generally stating to their daughter and their kids, why don't you choose and let me see if that's the person. They generally have a broad idea. Now, when parents get involved, that's when the families, the bonding, happens. The unity of the family, happens. That's when marriages happens. And we recommend that. We also recommend people to spend as much time offline, just meeting, bonding, knowing each other, not to really hurry up. Don't get married in a month. Generally, like have 3 months or 6 months of like knowing each other, courtship, like family bonding, so that you have a strong bonding. Another thing, I think this market will also lead to one new industry, which is going to be relationship counseling and therapy, which I think it's over the next few years that industry will emerge, where as you are meeting and courtship, there could be relationship heartbreaks that happen, hard to come in, you want to restart your relationship. The other thing is generally the first 2 years of your marriage, especially till the time for first baby, right? That's when it's the most. I think um, the bonding time, where things are not very strong. It needs to be nurtured, and that's when you start living together. You start seeing differences. You start seeing sometimes struggle. You don't like talking to a person for a day. Sometimes you enjoy, and that's the time you have families come in, and this counseling, this relationship, counseling is going to be quite useful. I highly recommend parents to be part of the hand-holding process before marriage, and especially the initial years of your marriage. Very, very important, to make sure the relationship is strong. If anybody kind of like unfortunate circumstance happens, highly recommend you're going to take it positively. Take it that I think example of cash deposit is, anytime you have to withdraw, like make sure there's a 10 times cash deposit that you put in the relationship. Don't take away given, like by nature you have to give into the relationship, right? Sometimes the patriarchal society, we think, no, the female, right, they have to cook food, they have to do household chores, but I don't think like we should, for urban Indians especially, right, it's also your part, so don't really like, you have to do that as well. Like you share your part, so don't really like, and also like female, right, not to like really be too demanding, but be accommodating, where you both like really like be part of a relationship, where you look into like you also give and both ways you give in, right? And I think that's when like there's a very healthy relationship between males and females, where males contribute to the household goals, females also support them, that yes, and then both of them nurture this, and then the parents come in. So if we do that, we'll see. My goal is to see if we have a stagnated. We may not be able to stop the rise, but we would want to have our contribution to make sure the growth doesn't grow. It just stalls at the same rate. That's what we aspire as a company.
Hmm. Now, I want to, now that we have a context on the whole marriage industry and the intricacies of a marriage, uh, especially from matchmaking context, I want to go deep into how the uh, AI works. What factors does it consider when making a match? I'm not talking about 10 possible match, but the exact match going to the final match level. What factors are considered? As in, do you compare height, weight? Do you compare the food habits? I mean, what are the factors considered, and what what is considered a match? More similarity, is that a match, or more differences, is that a match? Because I've from experience I've seen people with different thought processes, with a certain diversity, they go well with each other compared to people with more similarities. So tell us a little bit about how the AI works.
Okay, so first of all, I think the concept of perfect match does not exist. Neither our AI is trained to find that, because there is no such person.
Hmm.
I think we believe in a compatible match where both the partners have to give into the relationship. If you don't, relationship will not work. I think in terms of what goes in the matching, definitely, your religion, community, language, your annual income, the industry, your lifestyle, like the smoking habits, the location, all these things go into that. Then we have a 12 dimensions on the behavioral side, whether you're looking to settle in India versus abroad, nuclear family, travel, how much do you like to really have family values in terms of the weight, right, that you're given. Then we have some of the behavioral traits,
Hmm.
like liking for a particular food versus like early morning habits, or versus corporate versus startup. So those are the things that we do.
Hmm.
And I think I think what we recommend people to go and meet 5 to 10 people. That's what is the average. It takes good 3 to 6 months of time before people meet 5 to 10 people. At that time, so usually people start with a very high demand or expectations about, and it comes
Hmm.
through a self ego, because if you're educated, earning, and we see many times, we see from people, do you know I am a VP of this company and 100 people report to me, and we just listen and just think, but the female doesn't care about that, right?
Hmm.
But we also see, from the other side that, hey, look, I have risen so much to the career, so somebody has to be that good who's going to beat me and this. I think let's take a little step back. Relationship is not a transaction between two resumes.
Hmm.
It's something happens at home. There is no resume, right? At
Yeah.
home, it's a shared work that you do together that builds your relationship block by block by block.
Hmm.
And the simple thing is you can't break that block, and that's what a nurturing of a relationship means. So that feeling of nurturing and giving in is very, very important. So I think our AI will take you to these highest rate of connections,
Hmm.
where yes, you will have, let's see, 8, 10, 15 connections in a month. You want to meet 2, 3 people a month. But it's also like you evolve, your expectations evolve, in that journey. And that's when you start finding the most, I think the data from VC takes 6 to 12 months to find a marriage partner.
Hmm.
Touchwood, we have been lucky that in some cases it has also happened in a week or a month. Generally, that's not the norm. So I think spend, like, anybody should be like planning a year in advance if you're looking, to find, a partner that you want to settle down with, right? Which is, this is the one person I want to live life with. That's what some people, it might take 2 years, 3 years. Some people might take 3 months. Absolutely okay.
Yeah.
It's life. It took me 4 years to find my partner, so it doesn't really matter. I think at the end, like, do you really feel this is the person, right? And can you do your part, on building that relationship? That's what it matters.
Hmm. Got you. What would happen when somebody is not providing right informations to the platform? For example, like you said, one field is about smoking habits. So somebody is a smoker but will enter, I'm not a smoker, and things
Yeah.
like that. How does your platform handle such inconsistencies in data?
Okay. We see it. Also, people want to impress in an online world.
Hmm.
So best quality photos, right? And they want to write the best about themselves. So we always like. I think the online product should be taken as a the first basis point.
Hmm.
It should not be taken as I think the most reality that you could see. This is
Hmm.
a good representation of how a person could be. Some of the behavioral traits are very, very hard to find. Here, but somebody, the behavior also can change, right, over time. There is no such truth that lies. Today you smoke, after 6 months you don't smoke. Today you drink, after a year you don't drink, right? So the data also keeps changing. I think what is important here, we say that, look, if from the photos you like a person, the education career you're liking it, some of the other things, reason community, like something is in sync, which could be important to you, you're liking some of the behavioral aspects, we recommend you to go and meet. So the
Hmm.
online world is the start, it's not the end. It's the offline world when actual physical meetings happen. We don't think marriages can going to happen over an online call. And we state, go and meet 3, 5 times. Let's see how it goes.
Hmm.
And then do you see, so don't really like love at first sight or something. Personally, I'm not a great fan of it. Like
Hmm.
it's something, hey, just go a little slow, like it's the explorate, right? Just knowing each other, liking and love, that stays. So I think just control your feelings, and one by one, once you're able to see the person is, let's see, honest and caring, and hey, the person can support you in bad times. The person is going to give into that relationship. The person is really about building something together, and then like making sure the family is intact. Like those are, I think, the kind of people you should, let's go with.
Hmm. Uh, Typically, many of the
And
founders.
wait, and
Yeah, sure. Go
one
on.
thing is, yes, people could state, there was an online research that the 60% of people lie in an online, I think, matchmaking apps. We think in matrimony it's less because people meet people and generally in working professionals, right? They're more
Hmm.
ethical that way. But we do have a report and block feature. So if there is any information that comes in, mostly in the first report, we just keep user on flag. The second report, we reach out. Third, there's a suspension.
Hmm.
That happens from the account. So that's how the community is verified. It's government ID, it's self-verification. There is education information, annual income information. Then there's a reporting blog. Then there's community, and we have an excellent customer success team to take care of that. So it's a very trusted community that we have built. So I think that just keeps a very, I think, a trust among the people, on this platform.
Got you. Um, the next question I want to ask is around the platform building process. So many of our founders are also many of the listeners who listen to ELI. They also are building platforms where there is a demand side and there is a supply side. So let's call it that platform where there is a groom which is in demand and there is a bride which is a supply, or just reverse that. Uh, so when you build such platforms, it will only work when there is a certain scale. There are 100 number of male users and 100 female users who are using the platform, and then only you'll be able to see some potential matches. Otherwise it just, 20-30 people on each side, it doesn't work out.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
how did you reach that level of platform readiness or platform market fitness? uh, how did you onboard the first set of users, if I like um, use those words?
Yes. So in platform, I want to share one matchmaking and better half today's right view. So um, better half app was launched, mobile app was launched in January 2019.
Mhm.
And that's when we really, like, it took 8 months to get it to first to 50,000 users. And obviously the matches, right? We used to give one profile a day, two profile a day. So they hated us. They're like, what do we do with this one profile, right? You can't happen.
Hmm.
And then over time, actually, it slows down, right? So then after 1.5 years, like a lot of, I think, hustling that happened. The first 2,000 users like came through your story article.
Hmm.
Then we just used to, I heard spoken to 500 users personally, at that point in time. So that happened. There was a referral. We were strong on, I think we used to run actually ads at that point. We still do.
Hmm.
But I think those ads did help us to some extent. That kept on happening, and then over time a lot of media picked up, and then our Instagram channel picked up, and then it's LinkedIn, then it's PR, right? And then YouTube picked up. So I think overall it became brand, and then once by one we match people, they would recommend to their friends. So BetterHalf took good 4 years to build an urban matrimony brand. And we are still early in our building our brand phase. But today I'll tell you an example, right? BetterHalf, if you go to our marriage biodata feature, which was launched 5 6 months ago, today we rank number one, and we think we are the largest biodata online world. If you just type biodata on Google or marriage biodata, we will be the first product that will show up. Now we have frequently matching. There's a lot of tech investment that we did on product driven growth that helped us build to this part. I think for people, I think I would state focus on their early customers, like get to first 1,000, especially in a network effect like BetterHalf. You'll have to hold the first 18 months of acquiring users till the time the network effect picks up, and then the flywheel is as more connections happen, more people tell us. That's what kind of like it just builds up, and then you have a brand that comes out. One more thing is from January, we launched our super app. So now you can do end to end from your matchmaking to courtship to wedding. So now you can just matchmake. You can, I think you can take astrology products from us. You can verify other people. You can gift other people. If you are in Bangalore, you can actually book a wedding photographer, wedding decorator, wedding venue, entertainment services. So I think in just one app for urban engines, this is what we have become a platform today.
Yeah. One suggestion, you should have a widget for estimating budget of a wedding. That would come handy.
That will come. I think that's in the plan. So thanks. We're coming. So the free wedding card is already there, on BetterHelp site. So we are seeing an increased traffic that's coming in.
My last few questions. Tell us about your entrepreneurial journey. What are the different challenges that you have faced so far? Not all the challenges, but some one or two major challenges that you have faced during your journey.
I think I'll tell it before marriage and post marriage. I think initially in the early days, I was very, I think, slightly ego driven or something, where I want this thing to be done, right? But nobody would care. So the reality was that. So maybe it was like a lot of hard push that was needed. But I think over time, our team grew to 75, 80 people. So I think it's by natural nature, right? We have become, it's people also train us. So we become more people driven. We want to make sure like the team is intact. So it's very apolitical system today that we have built. Better half decision is not taken by a person over here, one person or something. It's taken by somebody who's driving it, but they have to convince the team. They have to bring logic. They have to bring reasoning. And I think that's what this keeps the team intact, that we are heading towards the right direction. That's there. I think pre-marriage, I had more time to spend into the company, and I didn't used to look into my clock. But post-marriage, considering that I have home to take care of. Generally, you're very strict on the timing. Still, I have to spend majority of my time in my work, but I'm just very, very careful. Right, post-marriage is just you have just a limited time. So I think your measurement of meeting times are shorter. Calls, like I would take less calls. I'll spend more time inside the company, like just working with the employees in core issues. Right, I'll work with the customers, and then just make sure the planning is strong. But I have to not deliver these things at a very minimum time, and have to make sure, that sometimes I have to go and cook dinner, or sometimes I have to make sure the household chores is taken care of. So you come to that point, right?
My last question, tell us what is entrepreneurship as per you? How would you define the term entrepreneur?
I think it's about doing the things that you really like to do without being influenced by or external like folks like so-called media and investors. And I think I enjoyed 2 of my time. It was the best time when I was just thinking on the problem of what I wanted to do just before starting BetterHalf. I believe that moment, that feeling was entrepreneurship for me, and then I had to stick. It's been 5 years doing the same thing. Yes, it's been tough, but I think the reason why you started because you want to do it for your friends. You want to like learn something on the way, maybe leading teams, a company. maybe raising funds, but all of these things is learning that we were chasing. Making the company profitable, right? But the core was we did it for, we faced it. So I think let's see. So I think initially, I think I would say entrepreneurship is about really, really serving others in the right way, in the most professional way that you could do, and giving all your energy into that. That's what I would count that as the best example of why somebody should even think on that. If anybody is highly influenced by really the funding or the news or fame or something, possibly the right reasons, because the hard times will be more often that you think. Any company usually goes through 5 to 7 death experiences. We have already gone through 3 death experiences. We believe another 2 to 4 death experiences are remaining for Betterhalf.
Okay.
And if you survive these 5 to 7 death experiences, you become a large company. So I think one should be ready for that. You can die any day, any time. So I think any short run here is not going to pay off. So I advise against starting any company for wrong reasons, because ultimately it won't succeed.
Yeah, I think that is an interesting perspective. 5 to 7 death experiences. All the founders who are listening, you must take a note. Thanks for your time, Pawan, and it was an absolute pleasure to have you on our platform. And our best wishes for Betterhalf.ai.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking me in on this call. And I hope this is going to be useful and inspirational to other and upcoming entrepreneurs.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.